You're listening to Side Hustle Pro, the podcast that teaches you to build and grow your side hustle from passion project to profitable business. And I'm your host, Nicaila Matthews-Okome. So let's get started. Hey guys, welcome back to the Side Hustle Pro podcast. I have a really exciting episode today. Today in the guest chair, we have Desiree Verdejo. She is the founder of Hyperskin. So as a Black woman with acne-prone skin who was subject to dark spots and hyperpigmentation, Desiree never really saw people who looked like her in the skin care space. So that's why she set out to create a simple, results-oriented, multicultural skincare brand that celebrates and offers products for everyone's skin in its various stages. So today she's here to talk about how she founded Hyperskin, how she's got into Sephora, and you'll be surprised by some of her answers in the lightning round. So make sure to listen to the whole episode, but let's go ahead and get right into it. First of all, I'm so glad we've been able to do this. You know, it's taken us a couple of tries, but it's okay. This is the right time for us to speak. And I'm so excited to finally have you here. I wanted to know a little bit more about your journey into beauty, because I know you practiced law for, 7 years? What was your original career path?
Yeah. So I've lived a few lives, I guess, but I was an attorney in a past life. I practiced law in the finance area for 7 years. But I have always been in love with and drawn to the beauty industry. So my first beauty venture was actually that I owned a boutique in Harlem in New York City. And that boutique was like a curation of indie beauty brands that spoke to women of color, people of color. So we had like skincare products, a lot of hair care, you know, all of this sort of blossoming cosmetic brands. And I owned that store for about a little more than 3 years. It was online and then in New York City. And in that space, I was moved to create what is now Hyperskin.
So what exactly was it about what your customers were coming in and asking you that led you to start to think about developing a product?
Yeah, well, it was two-part. I mean, I myself have always dealt with acne-prone skin. I've had acne since I was like 11, and that sort of led to some of my obsession and knowledge about skincare. So I myself was dealing with like crazy breakouts at the time. At a particular time, I just had my daughter, and so the hormones were all over the place. And I think with our customers coming in every day, dealing with, you know, acne scarring, razor bumps, just all of these concerns that we didn't really have solutions for. And I was at the time, you know, I'm really proud of like the curation we had at the time. There are so many more brands in the space, especially in the makeup arena and in skincare. But at the time, there were very few brands, and we were really highlighting these beautifully done brands. But it was very hard to find skincare brands that were speaking to our customers' concerns. And what I realized talking to these, you know, people, mostly women that were walking into our boutique, was that everyone has these issues. I think for a long time, I thought like, I have this skin type. I have skin that's prone to hyperpigmentation. And what I realized is that we all have a lot in common. And yet we're all sort of going to the beauty supply store or sort of concocting solutions to concerns that should be thoroughly addressed. And so that is what sort of moved me towards creating what is now Hyperskin.
What was that process like in terms of timeline? Was it something that, you know, after a few people came in, you said, I'm doing this, and you got to work? Or is it something that took you years to actually act on?
It took me years, actually. It took me years to realize, because my first instinct, because I, you know, very much believed in the boutique that I had and wanted to see that thrive. My first instinct was, I'm not searching broadly enough for this solution. What's in Europe? What's here? You know, K-beauty was like really big around the time that I...
That's Korean beauty?
Yeah, Korean beauty. So what's happening internationally that our customers could be drawn to? I was like focused on looking for the solution for myself and for my customers. I certainly was not focused on creating it. A lot of what happened initially was very serendipitous. In one of the things about a boutique, and one of the challenges are the margins in having a boutique. You're buying everyone's products, and so you're selling it at this very high margin. And so we would create things like candles and, you know, sort of giftable items where our customer, you know, was excited to see that we created them. And so I had set out to create a holiday lipstick.
Okay.
Red, it was like everyone was wearing red lips, purple lips. It was like MAC Heroin, and Lip Bar was one of the brands we carried in our store, and they were just selling like hotcakes. And we said, we should create a holiday lip products. And it's kind of funny coming from me because I'm not like really a makeup girl, but I know my customers and I knew what she wanted. And that was, you know, and I felt really comfortable that we could create this like limited edition product. And doing that, I learned about the manufacturing process, met some people, and still not at all planning to launch a skincare line. But simultaneously, I was dealing with my own skincare concerns and came across an ingredient that I love, and that is in our recently launched face mask, benzoic acid. It's my favorite skincare ingredient. It is an AHA. It's an exfoliating ingredient, kind of like glycolic. So, you know, gets rid of dead skin cells, clears the pores, really great for acne-prone skin. It's anti-inflammatory. So really great for a lot of the issues that skin of color deals with, acne, razor bumps, etc. So I found this ingredient, and it's really wonderful for skin of color because it's not as harsh as a glycolic acid. It's a bit more gentle, so it takes a little more time, but overall is kind of the sort of product you want to have long term. These two things are completely unrelated. So I know how I sound because this is how it came to me. I found this ingredient.
We want to hear that process. So you found the ingredient.
Unrelated.
Okay.
I'm making lipstick. I find this ingredient and I'm like, why am I making lipstick? I'm not obsessed with lipstick. My customer loves a red lip, but that's not what she needs. Our customer needs this thought. She needs solutions to her skincare concerns. She needs ingredients that are really like, she and he need ingredients that are really, really wonderful for their skin type and their skin tone and their skin concerns. And so I was creating this lipstick, and I remember asking the person that I was working with that sort of introduced me to the manufacturing world. I know we're doing this project for a holiday lip, but I want to create a mask. And she was like, get out of here. Get out of here. Go. That's not, it was summertime. And if we kind of move things along, it'd be right on time for holiday. And she was just like, what are you talking about? But that's really like how it all started.
Wow.
And even at that time, I was like, just focused on, once I got into the manufacturing process, I still like had to sit back and think about the story behind the brand. Is this a continuation of our boutique, or is this its own, entity? Is this its own being? Does this like live separate and apart from the boutique? And ultimately I decided like I couldn't do the other brands on the shelves justice because I became you just become obsessed with your business. With your own. Yeah. I was like, if I carry other brands, I will not do them justice because I just want to talk about this business and this story and this need and these products. And so ultimately decided to move away from the boutique and to quickly, which didn't happen quickly, but like I just quickly launched this skincare line.
That's so interesting that in having the boutique, it not only led you to the idea, but then it also made you realize that, I need to hone in on my own products.
Yeah.
And I need to move away from that. Was that scary? This is a business idea that you talked to so many people about that you actually launched, and now realizing that it has to come to an end.
It was a lot of things. I would say the first word that comes to mind is emotional, because the store was online, but it also was in Harlem. It was in a community, and it was very well supported by the Harlem community, the New York community. And so it was very emotional, difficult, but I felt like it was the right thing to do. Like, I felt very strongly that this is what was missing, and that a boutique like that needed successful brands for it to thrive. It needed a skincare brand like that. And so I also just, knew I spent my days as a boutique owner either searching for brands, speaking to my customer base about products and brands and why they should support them, et cetera. And then trying to get as much press as possible, as much social media attention as possible for these brands. And, I've seen, major brands. Sephora has their in-house brand. A lot of major retailers have their in-house brands. But I think when you're small, it's very hard to do both fairly. So it was very clear that that I had to make a decision. And I was just super excited personally. And for that same audience, I realized this is speaking to the same audience. So I'm not leaving you. We're here, we're still in this together, but we're going to kind of pivot.
It sounds like since you were working with a manufacturer, at that stage, at least you had done that hard work of figuring out how to find someone to develop an idea in your head. Was it difficult still? Did that manufacturer meet your needs in terms of this new product idea you had?
Yeah, there still are a lot of challenges, and they exist to this day. We're 2 years old. We work with an amazing manufacturer that is really talented when it comes to actives and knowledgeable about the ingredient mandelic acid. And, our hero product is a vitamin C serum. So really talented, global. So they met our needs there. What you probably hear from a lot of founders of indie brands, though, is that when a manufacturer is big, they deal with, the brands that line the shelves of Target and Sephora. You're just like a little pea in the, you're a small fish. So,
right.
It happens a little less now. It's getting better, but I'm always sort of chasing my manufacturer down. And that's a challenge when you want to create skincare from a unique perspective, when you want to create formulas that, aren't just what's on the market, but that go beyond what's being offered. It's hard to do when you're doing that, but you're also like, hey, can you just answer my call? I know you work with XYZ brands and they're ordering 20 times what I'm ordering, but we're going to get there if we can actually connect. Yeah. So I think
I kind of need you.
Yeah, I kind of need you. So I think that was a huge challenge before launch. I mean, it was impossible to communicate, and it took a couple of years for us to get to final formulas, which now that's like a 6-month process when you are sort of getting the attention you need and when you know the process. But yeah, that's a big challenge for indie brands.
Thanks for sharing that, because I guess you kind of feel like once you have a manufacturer, you have your meetings and you get into a flow and everything like that. And you forget that, hey, they're not just going to be working with you unless you're doing crazy scale or what have you.
I also happened to launch during this global, supply chain.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we launched right before. We launched
in 2019.
We launched in November, and everything sort of went crazy in March. And so during that early period, we were scrambling, but then bigger brands started to scramble when everything changed. And so I think that was added to the challenges of our initial months. Wow. So that was part of it.
So you launched in 2019, and now I see you in Sephora. How did that come about?
Yeah, we have some amazing retail partners, and it happened little by little. I'm going to say Urban Outfitters was our first partner, Revolve. Sephora, they reached out to us. And at the same time, we were paying attention to their Accelerate program. And so applied to their program. And so we're just in conversations with them. I, at the time, set out to talk to all of the major retailers. I think sometimes people know exactly where their brand fits, but we are... Yep. I want to say first and foremost, we are an inclusive brand that centers multicultural customers, and we are masstige. So we're at this middle price point, not completely very intentionally not luxury price points, but also not the lowest price point. And so because of that, I felt like we could live in Sephora, but we could possibly even live in a Target that I think does multicultural beauty very well, or an Ulta that is somewhere in the middle. And so we had the fortune of speaking to everyone and to buyers at each place. I hunted down the buyers at Target and got introductions to the buyers at Ulta, and Sephora reached out to me. And I really, just set out to have conversations with them about how they're growing multicultural beauty, how they're growing not only multicultural, but targeted beauty, because that's, where we are in the clinical arena, how they're growing clinical brands that are not founded by doctors. So just really set out to understand how they're looking at skincare, specifically clinical skincare, specifically multicultural skincare. And I was just really excited with how they viewed our brands and how they were viewing those spaces going forward. I was excited about the questions they were asking and the thoughts that they had surrounding those categories in our brand. And so ultimately decided that Sephora was a great partner for us based on that. And also, I'm a Sephora girl. I think as someone that's always shopping for products that render results, I'm all about the reviews. I'm on Sephora looking at the reviews. And so that's my customer, the customer that appreciates before and afters, that appreciates reviews. She loves packaging. She loves a cute name or, an orange poppy exclamation point. But at the end of the day, she's like, what are people saying about this dark spot serum, this exfoliating mask? And so it just felt like a good partnership.
And, it's interesting you say Sephora was it. I chose them, but then they also chose you. So what about, what? Now that is awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How did you position your product to make it attractive to a buyer?
Yeah, I think, Sephora is all about brand story. They are very into founders. I think if you think of your favorite brands at Sephora, you can probably think of the name, maybe even the face of the founder. They're all about communities. We're a small brand. We, only have 2 products. We had 1 product for 2 years, but we have a really strong and supportive community that is really excited about what we're building. And they definitely noticed that. And I definitely think they were drawn towards those sorts of brands. And I think they appreciated the vision for our brand overall. This is where we are, but, they understand our growth trajectory and our plan. And it's consistent with the way they're growing clinical skincare, growing multicultural skincare, looking at indie brands. And so it just, I think on their end, it felt like a good fit as well. So, it feels, it's been a great partnership. We just launched with them in September. So it's
September of 2020 or 2021?
2021. So it's only been a few months, but it's been a very well-supported partnership, and I'm excited.
It feels longer than that. It just feels like, so your hero product is Hyper Skin, and it feels like it's been around forever in terms of it just, I know it, but it just feels like something that it's just, I don't know if it's the packaging or, just how you came to market, and it's just so well supported. It just comes off to me like just something that is just that needs to be in your beauty arsenal, and that has, it's just what are you doing if you don't have Hyper Skin?
I love that.
And maybe it's because I'm tuned in to Black women beauty influencers, and I've heard this product talked about. So maybe as soon as you launched, you outreach to influencers. Tell us more about that. What was your marketing process once you launched?
Yeah. And I love to talk about this because one thing I want to note is that for almost a full year, I was Hyper Skin. Yeah. There was no team. There was me and a digital consultant, a marketing consultant. So it was a very scrappy, but very strategic marketing plan. And I built amazing relationships with editors and with influencers through my boutique. And they not only were excited about Hyper, but completely understood it. This targeted brand for women of color that is just based in realness and results. So initially we were able to do a lot of, well, not a lot probably compared to larger brands, but as an indie brand, a lot of gifting. We did and still continue to lean into UGC campaigns. and just like communicating with our customer initially on social, just organic social, email, text messaging, content marketing is huge for us. Just like staying in the conversation with our customer is a really big part of our marketing.
Yes.
Of course, now as we've grown as a brand, our team has grown. We've grown through different paid channels, but we still very much lean into the UGC and into the organic and into the content. And I think because of that, our customer feels more connected with us and feels like we've been around for a while.
Yeah.
But we really are just a 2-year-old company and have only had one product for so long. So it's funny to hear that.
And I also want to talk about the fact that you do have one product, a hero product.
Yeah.
What was the strategy behind focusing on one rather than coming out with a whole suite for your face, like a hyperpigmentation wash and moisturizer? Tell us more about that thought process.
If I'm being quite honest, it was two-part. Part of it was just being scrappy and focusing on this result. We tested the serum and some other products that we launched, like our mask, which just launched.
Yeah.
We tested that product with our like close-knit community. And my friends and colleagues were like, when is this launching? Because I need more. Like they were giving me the content that like the before and afters and the reviews and asking for more. And it was so clear that, we were like, how should we, like, which way should we go? And it was very clear, whatever you do, put this like serum into the market because like I need it. And so that was clearly like this results driven product that really told the story that we wanted to tell. We focus on hyperpigmentation. We're all about results and like, it can be beautiful and still effective. So we started there to sort of share the story. We still are a self-funded brand. And so some of that was just based on resources. But as we've grown, the goal is to remain very like intentional and thoughtful about the products we put out and the concerns that they address. So you will see launches from us. We are growing. We are excited to speak to concerns beyond hyperpigmentation and to offer really effective and thoughtful products for those concerns. But our goal is not to like have 20 products by the end of the year. I think the skincare space is flooded. Customers are savvy. They don't want what they don't need. They want, like, our customer wants results. Our customer is like super savvy. She's tried a lot before she came to us. She knows the ingredients. She's already overdone it because, the solution wasn't there. So she's already done too much. And now she's like, what works? And so that's the customer that we're speaking to. And that's sort of our thought process is effective but balanced products, intentionally launched that speak to like true needs. So you will see still like a more thoughtful cadence from us, but we're, moving away from the one product.
Many thanks to Faherty for sponsoring today's episode. So when every day is different and weather can change at the drop of a hat, I know it can be tricky to dress in these times, but luckily Faherty makes it way easier. They make the perfect clothes for all seasons. So Faherty is a family-run brand making high-quality, timeless clothing with modern design and functionality. I, for one, can't wait for my latest Faherty piece. It is called the Dream Cotton Lakeview dress. Can't wait for it to get here because it's this all-white, 100% cotton dress, and I will be rocking it all summer. It has these spaghetti straps and a square bodice, and it's just the perfect everyday dress that you can also dress up for date night or brunch. And it has pockets. I love a dress with pockets. And guys, this is just one of the stylish dresses on the Faherty site. I mean, there's so many to choose from. Go ahead and check it out yourself. And by the way, Faherty is so confident in the quality of their stuff that they have a lifetime guarantee of quality. They'll replace or fix your clothes forever, no matter what. Talk about making it easier to get dressed. And right now, Faherty is giving all Side Hustle Pro listeners 20% off. That's right, 20% off. So head over to fahertybrand.com/hustlepro and use code hustlepro at checkout to snag 20% off all of your new spring staples. That's code hustlepro at Faherty. That's spelled Faherty brand.com/hustlepro. veritybrand.com/hustlepro for 20% off. One last time, veritybrand.com/hustlepro. Many thanks to Thrive Cosmetics for sponsoring today's episode. I think Thrive is just so amazing because they are a high-performance beauty and skincare brand that is made with clean, skin-loving ingredients. For example, no parabens, sulfates, or phthalates, and they're certified 100% vegan and cruelty-free. And cause is in the name for a reason because every purchase supports organizations that help women thrive. Now, I cannot wait to try their liquid lash extensions mascara. So that mascara is supposed to mimic the look of lash extensions without damaging glue or expensive salon prices. Now, I have tried lash extensions before and I love the look, but it's just not a process that I could commit to that hour, 2 hour on the table. So I'm really looking forward to the liquid lash extension mascara from Thrive Cosmetics. And speaking of cause, yes, it is cosmetics for a reason, because for every purchase that you make, every product you purchase, they donate to help a woman thrive. So that's very in line with what we are about here at Side Hustle Pro. So they donate to women fighting cancer, women surviving domestic abuse, women emerging from homelessness, and women adjusting to life outside the uniform. So I just think that's so excellent. And now is a great time to try Thrive Cosmetics for yourself. Right now, you can get 15% off your first order when you visit thrivecosmetics.com/hustlepro. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/hustlepro for 15% off your first order. How did you go about building your team? Where did you start? Who did you focus on hiring first? What roles did you focus on hiring first?
Yeah, that's a great question. So as a self-funded brand, I did a lot by myself when we first launched. I was everything. And then we had a digital marketing consultant who was amazing in helping us to really like exponentially grow our customer base, our revenues, etc. So in our first year, we really leaned into the social side of things, obviously that consultant, and then leaning into like a social media coordinator. We now have a social media manager, and we have 2 people that work under her that are creating really awesome content. We did a brand refresh and have a really brilliant brand manager that, you know, redesigned our website and our packaging and just like makes social media really fun and really makes great content for educational purposes and beyond. And then on the other side of things, we have someone that manages operations. And that's the side this year that we're really trying to beef up, because as we grow, you know, with Sephora, as we grow with further product offerings, the operations side is where we're really, and then just being like in a pandemic with so many concerns, like operations is where we really,
so many things affecting operations.
So many things. It's really like the supply chain issues is something that I say every day, and I hate the term, but I'm like always saying it. So so that's where we're focused now. And then we work with consultants as well. I mean, as a small company, we need to have flexibility. And then we're in an economy where people want to work remote and want to freelance because they like have so many things that they're working on. And so we work with freelancers for things like copywriting, and we work with an external accountant. And so we do work with external parties as well to keep things like fluid and affordable and just kind of consistent with how people work these days.
So you've mentioned that you are self-funded, and you've also mentioned that you are in Sephora, which we know. How do those two play into each other, you know, with a manufacturer who is...
Horribly.
Okay, so... and supply chain issues.
Being self-funded is a huge challenge. I don't say it because I think it's like a badge of honor. I say it because it is what it is. But it's a challenge to be self-funded, especially with supply chain issues. I remember reaching out to a founder colleague who is funded, and then Sephora. And I was like, how are you dealing with, because at the time we've been out of stock many times. We're a growing brand, so it's really sometimes hard to track demand. And then there are supply chain issues. And what did she tell me? Oh, we just like order 6 months of inventory. And I was like, that's, could be $500,000. That's a lot of, that's very expensive and not a solution, but thank you for that. So, there are a lot of challenges right now, in the business, in the beauty industry that are even more pressing when you're a smaller brand and a self-funded brand. Sephora is another expensive channel, but one very much worth the investment. But I mentioned we've been there for months. We've grown month over month in that space. And we've also grown month over month on our DTC, which is very intentional. And so when there's growth that doesn't always track projections, it's hard to plan for. It's hard to keep up. Sephora, once their purchase orders addressed immediately, they also, have a great model for introducing new brands. So they do a lot of things like sampling, et cetera. That's wonderful, but also very expensive. And there's no return. There's a return, overall, but it's not like when you sell something, So, when Sephora says we want samples, they don't want 500, they want 100,000. And so very expensive to be in that space. It's a lot. And so, retail, we waited about 6 months before we even reached out to retail. And then even with Sephora, we started the conversations very early, but pushed back. There are some founders that may have even pushed back beyond where we did because we launched in Sephora with just one product. We actually do incredible numbers on our one product, but for many people, it might not even be worthwhile to have that kind of retail partnership with only one product.
And why is that? Just because
it's an expensive investment. And we're on .com right now. So there's an investment in, content, there's an investment in sampling, but when you go in store, which is something that I think, I don't imagine one would do with one product, but then the investment just becomes greater because then you have physical spaces to manage and market and et cetera. So it's always important. Like, it looks great. These retail partnerships always look great, but you really do have to think about the cost. Of those.
And that's what I'm always thinking about. Like, there's a fulfillment promise now with that partnership. And so when I hear you talking about the manufacturer, when I know the supply chain issues that are going on, I'm like, how are you doing this and being self-funded? For those who, we all start out self-funded. Do you have advice as far as how do you keep the lights on? I mean, are there grant programs or loan programs that you reached out to, or are you just reinvesting, all of the profits and not taking a salary right now?
Yeah. So we are, I am taking a salary, but I am taking a salary. I will pay myself. But we are reinvesting. We are reinvesting. Yeah. That is the name of our game. There are lots of grants. There are people that are better at applying for grants than I am. There are also a lot of capital, not that we don't take advantage of all of them, but there are a lot of capital options in this space now. I think it is sort of we're at the forefront of that in the startup arena. So, options like Settle come to mind. We use Settle. So
what's Settle?
Settle is like, it's basically like a loan, very similar to a bank loan, but then there are some modern features to it that make it more appealing to a startup like mine. So there are some capital options. I think, those are more available when you have a certain level of sales and revenues. I can't recall what that sort of entry point is, but that's been really beneficial to us because it just allows you to have access, it allows cash flow to be higher. So for us, that's been where we are. And then, we shall see, what the future holds. But I do need to get better at grants because I know a lot of founders that are really able to fund their business in that avenue, but it's very time consuming.
Yeah. So I realized that I assumed profitability, right? And I know that these first few years are so much grind. That's not always the case. What has been your experience when it comes to that?
So I am fortunate that we, in our first year, were profitable. And so we have been able to reinvest profits back into the business. I have been able to pay myself. And I can say that with a lot of appreciation because this is not my first business.
Yeah.
And with my boutique, for example, that was not my experience. I barely paid myself in the boutique that I had. And so launching this business, my first expectation was that, and I didn't pay myself for 6 months because I thought I couldn't. And I remember I brought on, because I was like, I just have to reinvest everything. Like I want to put more into paid, more into this, more into that, more into, everything. And I brought on an accountant. It was, nearing the end of the year, Q3. And they looked at me and they were like, what are you doing? Like, pay yourself, hire some people, like, and I was like, oh, okay, great, done. So yeah, worked with them to figure out a salary and consistently pay myself every pay period, and advise everyone to do the same, even if it's almost nothing. For me, obviously, being able to pay myself a salary feels really great, but also just having the paper trail of paying myself is really important as someone that is a mom, and so many reasons why we need to have that financial record, and sometimes we don't as founders when we aren't running a business that's profitable. So, but yes, we've been really fortunate that there has been enough demands that we have been profitable since, I don't want to say day one, but definitely year one.
All right. So before we jump into the lightning round, I would love to know what is next for Hyperskin.
Well, we just launched our second product after 2 years, our Fade and Glow AHA mask. Super excited. I told you about my experience with the mandelic acid and how I was really excited to formulate with it. So this is the mask that came out of sort of our initial trials with this mask. It's come a long way. Mask it's been in many phases, but really excited about this version of the mask. It is an exfoliating mask, so it's really great for, brightening the skin. It's really great for clearing pores. If you have breakout prone skin or acne prone skin, razor bump prone skin, mandelic acid is like a really anti-inflammatory ingredient. So I think a lot of our community is going to be really excited by this mask.
I'm excited.
And it also works really well. I always tell people, if you're treating hyperpigmentation, you need to exfoliate and treat with a serum like our dark spot serum, and then to use SPF. So really excited to have this treatment product that speaks to the exfoliation step. So what's next is just continuing to launch like really intentional, really effective products that speak to our customers' like most pressing needs. But also just really excited to see what they have to say about this mask, what their experience is with it. I'm really proud of the way the skincare community, our customers have responded to our dark spot serum. We have like 1,000 reviews, tons of press, emails all of the time about how the products work for them. And so there's a lot of pressure on this mask, like
well, add my review to the serum because I have it. I love it. I'm about to re-up and it better be in stock.
It's been in stock. We weren't able to get 6 months of inventory, but we did learn from that advice in the way that we could adopt it. So it is in stock. And so really excited to put out products that wow our audience and that really speak to their needs. So this is the first launch in 2 years. So just kind of like riding that wave right now before we, continue with others.
So now let's do a quick lightning round. Just answer, no fear. Just answer the first thing that comes to mind. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Number one, what is the first resource you can think of that has really helped you in your business?
People.
Okay. Number two, What has been the best business book or podcast episode that you have listened to or read ever? Favorite business book, favorite podcast episode? Yeah.
So how would I answer that? I do believe in reading industry magazines like Beauty Independent, Business of Fashion. And so I would say staying up on those daily like news bits and trends has been really helpful to me. But when I read, I like to read fiction. I just find that to be so much more
I can relate.
Effective. Yeah.
Yes. Number 3, what is a non-negotiable part of your morning routine?
Coffee, latte, oat milk, before my kids wake up, because I just need like a few minutes of me time, a little bit of caffeine, and then I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. Number 4, what is a personal habit that has significantly helped you as a business owner?
A personal habit has been being willing to try things. I'm not risk averse, and like I'm very well researched before I take chances, but I think being willing to try things has been beneficial in me, sort of finding where I belong and where my brand belongs.
Okay. And then finally, Desiree, what is your parting advice for fellow entrepreneurs who want to be their own boss, but are worried about losing a steady paycheck, worried about their business failing? What would you tell them?
Oh, I hate this question because I think I'm supposed to say, don't worry, but like worry. Like worry, like having a steady paycheck as a former attorney is wonderful. Don't take it for granted, but save. You know, I would say save and start taking steps in that direction. But I would say save, because I don't think that people really hear the save part. Like they hear like what you did. Oh, I was a lawyer and then I was this. But save, and like save more than you think you need, and stay. I would also say, and this is like very I think the current tone of things, but I would say to the extent you can work, learn, and make money from someone else and do what it is you want to do, like keep it a side hustle for as long as it can be, because I didn't do that with moving from law, and I've met people that have, and I think I was so focused on like, this is the title I want. This is the lifestyle I want. You will get to the title and the lifestyle, but you will live a much more balanced life if you do that with someone else's like salary and benefits. So
that's it right there.
Yeah. Make the steps, take the steps. I would never tell anyone not to jump, because I feel very grateful for every pivot and jump that I've done. But I think that, the current tone is like, be an entrepreneur and just do it. But like, learning on someone else's dime is amazing. Like, it's amazing.
That's it right there.
So
that's it right there, y'all. So with that, where can people connect with you outside of this interview?
Oh, sure. Well, I love Instagram. So I'm there. I'm Desiree.Verdejo. My company is at Hyperskin, and we're online at hyperskin.com. And Hyperskin is at Sephora. So that's where you can find me, and that's where you can find Hyper.
All right, guys. So there you have it. Desiree Verdejo of Hyperskin. Talk to you guys next week. Hey guys, thanks for listening to Side Hustle Pro. If you like the show, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. It helps other side hustlers just like you to find the show. And if you want to hear more from me, you can follow me on Instagram at Side Hustle Pro. Plus, sign up for my 6-bullet Saturday newsletter at sidehustlepro.co/newsletter. When you sign up, you will receive weekly nuggets from me, including what I'm up to, personal lessons, and my business tip of the week. Again, that's sidehustlepro.co/newsletter to sign up. Talk to you soon.